And you were listening to Season 6 of the award-winning Christian Outdoors podcast with your host, Pete Rogers. Hello, and you are listening to Christian Outdoors podcast with your host, Pete Rogers. This is episode number 303. Today we're going to do a little bit different episode, as John Goodwin will be joining me as a co-host again on today's episode. We typically stay in the hunting, fishing, backpacking world, but I'm decided to branch out a little bit since we do discuss all things outdoors. And today we're going to have with us Bryan and Theresa Villa. And Bryan and Theresa have been married more than 31 years. They met while working together at Walmart in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And shortly after they married, Bryan joined the United States Air Force. And he served 20 years before he retired. In the last 9 years, he was in White House communications. He's been retired for a little over 11 years. They have two sons, Austin, 28, and Jacob, 25. And Theresa says while she was pregnant with their oldest, she was diagnosed with melanoma. And after he was born, she had surgery and a biopsy on a lymph node, which it turned out to be cancer-free. But 9 years later, she was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma with a tumor on her lung. She went through clinical trials and was deemed in remission a year later. Then in 2011, she began experiencing shortness of breath. And after being rushed to the ER and undergoing lots of tests, they found a baseball-sized tumor on her heart and a grapefruit-sized tumor on her left scapula. She would spend the next 3 years in and out of clinical trials, had more than 25 cardiac MRIs and a dozen or more brain MRIs and yearly PET scans. In October of 2014, she was deemed in remission again. Shortly after this, they started talking about the RV life. Knowing that they're not promised tomorrow, she said, "We wanted to travel while we were still young and healthy." And in 2021, with both sons married, they realized the time was now. And they hit the road in their RV full time after selling almost everything they had. For the first 2 years when they traveled, Bryan worked full time in a sales position from the RV itself. But late in the second year, his job began to take a physical toll, and they knew something had to change. So he took a step of faith and resigned his position in order to go back to school to become a mobile RV tech. They have a 2022 Van Lee Beacon, which is a very nice fifth wheel, for those of you who don't know, and it's 43 feet long, and they are hitting the road, and they have been traveling for a little over 3 years now, full time in their RV. And I'm fascinated about that lifestyle where people just sell it all and hit the road and just live in their campers, their motor homes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, whatever it is, and just get to go see all of the beautiful creation that God made in North America. So stay with us, and we'll get to the interview with Bryan and Theresa Villa of RV Villa Adventures. All right, as I said in the introduction, today I have with me Bryan and Theresa Villa from RV Villa Adventures that we found on Instagram, and been following them for quite a while once I found them. And I was like, I really want to get somebody on the show that is not just in the hunting, fishing, backpacking world, but also because there's a lot of people that do what you do, whether
Right.
part-time or full-time. And it's just a world that is kind of foreign to me, and I'm looking forward to getting involved in that. But they live in their RV full-time. It's a fifth wheel camper, which I might have them explain in a little bit. But Bryan and Theresa, thank you for joining us here on Christian Outdoors Podcast. Why don't you tell the listeners about yourself, and we'll get into your story as to how this even came about.
Okay. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
I guess we've been married 31 years. We have two sons, and we sold our house in Virginia 3 years ago in October to hit the road full time and just to be able to see the country and see what we can while we're healthy and young and strong.
Yeah.
It looks like I waited too late. I'm not young.
No, you didn't wait too late. You didn't wait too late.
Well, it's never too late to get started. The one thing we hear from everyone we talk to is they all wish they would have started sooner, but it's
Yes.
never too
Right.
late.
Right. So you live full time in a camper. So I cannot imagine how hard it is to downsize from a house into the ones I've looked at are around 400 square feet, 360 to 400 square feet, you know, and my goodness, just even trying to figure out what kind of clothes I can take has to be hard.
It was a challenge, and it's still a challenge. We still struggle with downsizing every chance we get because when you live in an RV, you've got to be cautious of your weight, and you never want to be. You want to keep it safe on the road for you and the others. So we're constantly getting weighed, making sure we don't overweight the RV and the truck. And so downsizing is tough. We started during COVID, and that made the process a little easier because we weren't doing anything, so we could just started downsizing as much as we could from our house.
Yeah.
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 It is a little overwhelming at first, but you just kind of have to do it a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And then, like he said, even now, today, 3 years in, we still are going through stuff, and we're like, okay, we haven't worn that in 6 months. We can get rid of it, or whatever. So it's kind of a process as you just go along.
So who's the one that had the first said it out loud? Right? I mean, yeah.
She talked me into it. I wasn't on board at the time. I'm retired Air Force,
Okay.
and I had a job working from home, and then she talked me into it, and I didn't think we could do it living in one of these. I hadn't been inside a 44-foot fifth wheel. So we started going to RV shows, and then I realized, oh, we could probably live in something like this.
Yeah.
But it was totally her idea from the get-go.
Yeah,
Right.
I kind of sprung it on him.
Yeah. Was this because I said, and you shared with us about your cancer scares that you've had 2 times, and I put that in the intro. Was that one of the driving forces of, we're not promised tomorrow? I want things I got to do, and so let's get busy doing it.
For me, it was. He had spent 9 years working in White House communications and traveling the world, and had seen so many things, traveling the U.S. as well, but the world. And I was like, you know what? I want to experience that. I want to be able to travel. And for us, it just made sense to do it in an RV because our kids are here, and we don't have grandkids yet, but someday we will. And we want to make sure we can go see them whenever we want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And our kids are in separate states too. So having an RV makes it easy for us to pick up and go visit them where they're just starting their life. And it's not so easy for them to pick up and come visit us.
Right. All right. So here's one of the bigger questions is, how did you decide on a fifth wheel?
I'll let you take that.
Okay. Originally, we were going to go with a Class A originally. And then after going to the Hershey RV show, we started looking around, and then we kind of had the make and model all picked out. And then we happened to walk into one of the fifth wheels at the RV show, and we kind of fell in love with the same manufacturer. And then it's just a matter of picking out the floor plan. But living full time, I wanted something where if the RV were to break down, the whole RV wouldn't go into the shop. Whereas with a Class A, when you're full time, if that engine goes out, your whole house is in the shop. Whereas a fifth wheel, most of the time you can get your fifth wheels repaired on site, have a mobile tech come out to you. Now, if your truck breaks down, you take it to, Ford, Chevy, Ram, wherever you need to go. So that was kind of the driving factor was, one, you have more living space in a fifth wheel. And 2, if something were to happen, it's easier to get maintenance on it.
Well, and you say that, which is ironic because that's exactly where I was. I had picked out my Class A.
You're giving away what you're picking. You're giving it away.
I'm getting there, and I was watching more YouTube videos, trying to decide between models and makes. And there's a guy, I cannot remember his name. He's an RV tech that does RV inspector that does YouTube.
I know you're talking about.
Gray-haired guy. I can't think of his name. And he said, should you get a Class A or a fifth wheel? The reasons you should and the reasons you shouldn't. He did both videos, and I watched them both. And when he said what you just did, Bryan, when your vehicle goes in the shop, you're homeless. I was like, that is a game changer. You got to go change the oil. You got nowhere to be. Or they got to fix the differential. You got to go rent a house or stay in a hotel for weeks sometimes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's advantages and disadvantages to both. I tell people, because people are always asking us, if we were at the age where we couldn't climb up in a back to truck and hitch up, and it started being, back issues, knee issues, then that's where a Class A, just for pure convenience, comes into play, because it's setting up and tearing down is much easier with a Class A. Whereas a fifth wheel, you're having to climb in the back and hitch up. And for me, I still do it. I still get on the top of my roof every single move. I climb up the ladder, I get up there, I sweep everything off, inspect the roof. So for us at this age in life, the fifth wheel just made perfect sense.
Yeah. John, you were going to say something, looked like?
No, I'd never thought about that either, because my wife and I are campers. Ironically, last night we were watching a TV show, and the guy was talking about how he was going to retire in 2 or 6 months. He's like, my wife and I are going to sell everything. We're going to live full time in an RV. And I turned to my wife and I said, I think we should do that. Last night, and she just looked at me. So
and she ignored you, right?
yes, so Theresa, we're going to have to talk more, and you can tell me how you convince your spouse. But
Yeah.
But we have talked about, the future, what that looks like, and I've talked about buying something where we could just have it all together and drive out west or whatever, and I'd never even thought about the fact that, you don't want your house breaking down.
See, that was the game changer for me.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
The game changer. If you're going to live in it full time, for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I am not going to get a motorhome now. Plus, they're a lot harder to drive than driving a truck. Am I wrong?
It depends on who you talk to. I've never driven a Class A, but the guys that have the Class A's that I talk to says they're much easier for backing into campsites and stuff like that. As far as driving down the interstate, everyone gives the fifth wheel with the truck the thumbs up, because you're not feeling, if a semi blows by you, you're not feeling it like you do when you're in a Class A. I've heard you feel the wind,
right?
And it's just a little more intimidating.
Right. And yours is 44 feet.
We're 44. We're about 65 feet total in length with the truck and the fifth wheel.
Hitched up.
All right, here comes the big
Keep in mind, you guys being fishermen and hunters, the other thing you really have to look at is your cargo space. Where are you going to store all your toys? Sometimes the fifth wheels have the most storage capacity, unless you get one of these 40 plus Class A's.
You can bet that's been going on in my head. And the one I'm looking at, and I don't mind telling you, because the one I'm looking at is the Montana Keystone 3811 MS.
Okay.
It's 40 feet, 6 inches, some kind of odd inches, but it has the MS as the master suite. So it has double the wardrobe space, because one area is for a washer and dryer that I'm not going to have. And so I got one area for camouflage.
There you go.
There you go. And the other side is for my regular clothes. And then there's a sofa in the bedroom that lifts up for storage underneath there for
that's nice.
For other things. So
for the other things,
for my other things. And so I just think is that floor plan suits what my plan is.
Right.
And so now, what do you tow it with? Okay, because this is where I'm really having do I want a Duramax? Do I want a Power Stroke?
Right. So we did, in addition to doing RV shows, we did a lot of car shows too, and kind of checking out different brands. And we weren't loyal. We're big Toyota fans. I had a Toyota Tacoma, knowing there's no way Toyota makes a product that can pull a 19,000-pound fifth wheel. Mm-hmm. So we looked at the big three, and we settled on the Ram. We have a Ram 3500 and dually, and we love it. Long bed, dually, and to be honest, we've had every maintenance done. It just hit 50,000 miles, and we haven't had a lick of trouble minus routine, batteries and stuff like that, tires.
Thank you. Because I drive a Ram now, and I really don't want to get rid of my Ram. But I've been looking at the dualies. I said, I love that Ram dually. Do you get the Laramie Longhorn edition?
I have the Laramie blacked out package too. And it matches the RV. So yeah. And we custom ordered the Ram and the RV both.
I love this guy already, man.
We did the silver and black package. So everything matches, and we even ordered the Ram with the hitch in it and everything. So it was ready to start towing from day one.
Yeah. And Pete said he wasn't going to give away what he's getting. I know.
We all know.
I was really struggling on the GMC. I was looking at the GMC Denali dually or the Ram dually, and it's hard to find the Rams that's not a tradesman, not a work truck.
Right.
That I want something that's going to be more comfortable to ride in. I was looking at the Laramie Longhorn or the Limited, and they are really hard to find.
We custom ordered ours. We ordered ours months before we picked it up.
picked it up in July.
Okay, that never crossed my mind to order one.
Yeah, and you can do what I did. I went online and kind of built it online, and then I found my local Ram dealership and went in, and then he kind of built it from there, and then we ordered it, and it had everything we wanted. I probably could have got more stuff on it, but it serves our purposes. I love the airbag system on it. It just, everything's automatic.
Yeah, mega cab or standard 4-door?
We have the standard cab. I didn't want the mega cab because it would take away from the bed space in the back.
Yeah, I agree. I was like that. Yeah.
And after having a long fifth wheel, you want the 8-foot bed.
Yeah.
We also got oh, sorry.
How hard is that truck to park when you're not pulling?
Not bad at all. The only negative to the truck is that was for the first year and a half, that was our only vehicle. The only negative thing when you're not towing, I'm not going to lie, you will feel every pebble on the road. The suspension is not the best when it doesn't have weight in the back of it.
Yeah.
When you have weight, it pulls, it's smooth as can be. So, but parking's not bad at all.
In the parking space, as long as that thing is, would be.
Yeah, most of them it'll fit right in.
Okay.
Right at the edge of both.
I take up 2.
Yeah, I can see me doing that.
I'm parking it. I'm taking up 2 parking spots.
Yeah, I can see me doing that. It's got hips on it. It has birthing hips. I mean,
got
those
big
big hips on the back. Yeah, because my Ram has a very a not good turning radius, and I cannot, unless I can swing way out, I cannot get into a parking space without backing up and doing it again.
And that is a downside to the Ram 3500 versus, from what I've heard, people that have like the Ford 450s, the turn radius is much better. But it hasn't been a problem for us the past 3.5 years as far as maneuverability with the RV or without the RV.
Okay. John, I'm dominating this. I'm sorry, dude. You just jumped right.
It's interesting because I feel like a rookie with my little 26-inch or 20-foot travel trailer that we had.
That's what we started with. Not full time, but we had a little 22-foot high-low.
22-foot. We pulled it with a Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So mine with a Silverado. I got I have my bed bumps out the back, so it's actually longer, and it's an aluminum trailer, which is nice because it's lightweight. I didn't have to buy a new truck, but so how often are you on the move? Right. I mean, you probably find campgrounds, you stay for a little bit. I mean, what does that look like? I mean, what does your lifestyle look like, I guess, with living in this full time?
The first 2 years we would travel about, what'd you say? 2 to 3 weeks, average 3 weeks, every 3 weeks. Now that he is an RV tech, this last year we slowed our travel down a little bit. We stayed places 4 to 6 weeks on average now. Just because, we're obviously trying to generate income with this business. So we need to stay places a little bit longer and plus just not spending as much. So this year coming up, it'll probably go back to more like every 4 weeks. I like staying 4 weeks because you can use the month-long campground discount. If a campground offers a monthly rate, then it's usually an extremely big discount compared to the weekly rate.
Okay.
And I will tell you this, the more you travel, the more things break, which is good for people like me, who's a mobile RV tech. So slowing down not only saves you money just in general with fuel and campgrounds, but maintenance costs. The more these people that are putting, thousands of miles a month, they're also having a lot of maintenance stuff that they're having to maintain.
Well, that thing's shaking constantly. And when things shake, they start to break.
It's an earthquake on wheels.
Yeah, it really is. So, but y'all spend y'all's winters mostly in Florida, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. South Florida, Central Florida.
Panhandle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Everyone calls it South Alabama because we're really not. It's pretty cold here. Matter of fact, it's supposed to be 29 degrees tonight. So
we're in Pensacola.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So where all have you been when you were traveling? I mean, you went out west or Canada, or where'd you go?
Haven't been to Canada yet, but we have been out west. We did our first year. We did Arizona, and then we made our way up to Glacier. That was our ultimate goal. That first year was to get to Glacier, and we loved it. Can't wait to go back.
Right.
And then we made our way back east. And then the second year we kind of did the same thing. We made our way back out west to see Yellowstone, the Tetons, Colorado, do all that. And then this year we stayed
east.
We stayed east for
Yeah.
2020.
So, all right. So when you're going out there, let's say I'll just pick Yellowstone. I know I've been there several times. I kind of know the area. You just find a campground and lock up for a month, and then take your truck to go do all the sightseeing on day trips.
Yes, we actually I didn't realize there's actually a big rig friendly campground in Yellowstone. Was not aware of that. So we would have booked that instead, but we stayed in Cody, Wyoming.
Oh, I love that town.
Yeah.
And it was great. We liked it. We liked the campground we were in, and we luckily have a car, a Toyota Highlander. So we would drive that back and forth to go into.
So you tow the car behind the RV?
No.
No, I drive. I'm his tail gunner.
Okay.
The first year we did exactly what you're talking about. The first year we only had the truck. So once we parked, we were putting tons of miles on the truck, doing sightseeing and driving. And then we started thinking, she had to drive that into town as her everyday car, and the wear and tear on a truck. So we decided to get a second vehicle. And now once we get parked, we use her vehicle for sightseeing, and that's her go to the grocery, go to laundry, stuff like that.
So,
and believe it or not, we spent less money on fuel having two vehicles than we did when we only had the truck.
Really?
Significant amount less.
The truck gets 10 miles to the gallon towing, and the car gets 38 miles to the gallon. So
when you're running your errands and sightseeing, you're not getting 10 miles a gallon, are you?
No, I'm getting about 15 on the truck. Doing the sightseeing. So it was still adding up, especially when diesel was high.
Yeah. But then you can't drive together. Sorry, John.
That's actually a good thing now.
Oh, I gotta look. You gotta look there, Bryan. You gotta look.
We get our own radio station, and we have walkie-talkies, so we still do a lot of talking. But we each have our own radio. We're living in 400 square feet, so we get to be around each other quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It's our little break from each other.
Drive days are good.
It actually makes me less stressed being behind him, because when I was in the truck, I didn't know what was going on around us. Like, somebody could have hit the back of our RV and we wouldn't have known it until we got somewhere. Sideswiped you or something like that. Now with me behind him, I can see everything that's going on. And if he needs to get over, I can block traffic in the left lane and let him over. And then, so it actually has relieved a little stress off of me on travel days, having the second vehicle.
And there's a lot of people with fifth wheels. They may lose a tire or something slip, and they don't even know it until a car comes up on side of them and says, hey, you have an issue. So she can kind of monitor all that too. So it's definitely nice having two cars on travel days.
Yeah.
So you would blow a tire on the trailer and not even know it?
That happens.
We've heard some people
We've heard of people losing tires on the trailer and not even know it. Because if you have a dual or triple axle, a tire, I mean, it could fall off completely and go rolling down the interstate, and you don't know it until someone tells you sometimes.
Yeah. We've heard that story way too many times.
There's a couple of YouTube videos where it's actually happened. If you get out there, you can find them.
Wow.
I want to find that one.
We'll talk afterwards.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, you just scared me to death right there. I'm gonna tell you that.
he's rethinking the plan.
I don't think it happened on a Class A though. I mean, you could lose your drive tire, and then if you don't know how to handle the rig, it can be just as dangerous.
Oh yeah.
The biggest thing with a fifth wheel, most fifth wheels do not come with independent suspension from the factory. They're going to come with standard axles and leaf springs. So anytime you have leaf springs, we've broken 2 leaf springs in our travel so far. You always have that possibility, whereas independent suspension, you're a little more secure. You also going to pay a little more money, but everyone who has it seems to really love it.
Okay.
It's about an $8,000 upgrade.
So
how much?
About an $8,000 upgrade to get independent suspension.
So do you think it's worth it?
You can replace a lot of leaf springs for $8,000.
Yeah. You can, unless you're stranded somewhere on the side of the road.
And that's
can't
when it's going to
find
break down. Typically, it's going to be when you're not near a trailer shop or anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we actually travel now with a spare set of leaf springs. After breaking 2, we travel with leaf springs and U-bolts just in case.
Hmm.
Wow.
Lots to think about.
There's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
A lot to think about.
The other
Wow.
thing that could change your mind too, $8,000 seems like a lot for independent suspension. You get a Class A and you have to replace your tires. You're spending $1,000 to $1,500 per tire replacing your tires on a Class A. So I know people spend thousands of dollars just keeping up their tires.
Wow, that tent's looking better and better, man.
Yeah, that fifth wheel sounded better, right?
Tent.
Oh, a tent.
That tent's looking better and better.
Get a truck camper on top of your Ram.
Well, I spent how long was I out there last year in Wyoming, John? Was it 16 days, 14 days?
Something like that. Yeah.
I slept in the bed of the truck. I have a shell cover on the bed of
Okay.
it. I just slept in the bed of the truck. But that wears on the old man. I'm gonna tell you now, climbing in and out and crawling in there, that wears on you.
Our
Really
tenting
does.
days are over.
Long gone.
Yeah.
Way over.
Yep, that was really wears on you. So, what would you say to somebody who's considering it, as far as what are the things that surprised you the most when you got into? You did all this research, all this planning, and then you hit the road, and oh my goodness, I didn't think about this.
For me, it was probably the weight capacity. When we ordered our RV, at the time, the 21 models came with 3,000 pounds cargo weight. We picked it up in October, so they sent us a 22 model. Because of some modifications, that only gave us 2,000 pounds of cargo weight. And you will be surprised how fast 2,000 pounds goes. We don't travel with water ever, only because of the weight. Because we hover, we try to give ourselves, a couple of hundred pound cushion before our max. And it adds up quick. Kitchen, your clothes, if you travel with all your hunting supplies, I mean, you probably have 200 pounds worth of camo as much as you guys hunt. Yeah, it adds up really fast. So that to me, that was the toughest thing.
And everything else. And then you got your batteries for your inverter that's running your refrigerator when you drive down the road, and then you have your propane, and you got your kitchen utensils pots and pans and
it
food.
All adds up.
Yeah.
All those little, it doesn't weigh much, add up.
5 here, 10 here. For batteries, we did an upgrade. We started off with 2 RV marine grade batteries and a generator. We realized that wasn't going to be kind of the lifestyle we wanted. So we sold the generator and we upgraded our 2 RV batteries to 4 lithium batteries. So we got 4 batteries for the same weight as the 2 RV batteries. Yeah. Plus it can run our entire rig.
Yeah, lithium doesn't weigh hard. I got one here in my house running because I have a 12-volt refrigerator where I'm living now.
Okay.
And it's a Rec Pro, and it's running off a solar panel and a lithium battery.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, the lithium is a third of the weight of a standard lead core battery.
Yeah. So that was probably my biggest challenge, because I wanted to make sure we stayed legal to stay underneath the weight. Like even in my Ram, on travel days, I cannot fill up my Ram with a full tank of gas. And I have the max package.
What's the legal weight for your rig then? Like
on
highway legal rate?
Yeah, RV is 18,500 fully loaded, and for the Ram is 14,000 fully loaded. So for me, for instance, I have a 50-gallon fuel tank. I only travel with 3/4 of a tank, and we don't travel more than 300 miles in a day. So, but I also have a lot of tools. I probably have as many tools as you guys have hunting supplies.
Right.
Just to work on things. I took the back seats out of my Ram. It's all tools.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have to stop at the weigh stations like the tractor trailers?
No, we just do it for peace of mind and to stay safe. We stop at the Catskills and we'll pull on and weigh the truck and the RV, and then I'll go park and come back and weigh just the truck. That way I can figure how much pin weight I have, how much is on each axle, just to stay safe. There's nothing that says we have to do it. We just want to be safe.
So you have a different mechanical brain than I do. Some of that stuff I just never would have thought of.
Most RVers don't. I'd be honest with you. Most RVers are probably overweight. with their rig and truck because they just don't think
They
about
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what about the people that are towing a car behind their fifth wheel too? I mean, where does that factor into the weight of stuff? And
You know what? There's in some states it's illegal to triple tow. We
Love
still
it.
see it happen a lot. I would never do it. I
Okay.
wouldn't even tow a golf cart behind mine just for the pure safety reasons. That's just me. So that adds to the overall weight. Like for instance, on the Ram truck, it can tow 33,000 pounds, but can only weigh 14,000. That 14,000 for us, we have 4,000 pounds of weight just from the RV. But we're only pulling 18.5, so we would have the weight capacity to tow a car. It's just, is it safe?
Right.
And should you do it? That's kind of a every person for their own type thing. We've seen people tow boats behind their RV.
Oh, I've seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it does limit where you can go because there are a lot of states that it's illegal to triple tow. So
Right.
you know, you would have to not go there.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So your tongue weight was 8,000 pounds, you said?
4,000 pounds pin weight.
4,000 pound pin weight.
Which is extremely heavy. Our fifth wheel it's a heavy fifth wheel. Like we don't like all of our cabinets and everything is solid wood. So we have a very heavy. Most people are going to be closer to the 2,500.
Or three.
Yeah.
Three.
I want cardboard. I want cardboard cabinets and paper flooring. You know, I want white.
Take out the furniture, and that way you can put more supplies.
No granite, no granite, no other stuff. I want a lightweight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, our RV came with real tile backsplash, and so I don't know if you can see behind me.
I see it. Yeah.
We took our tile backsplash down and put that corrugated. That's metal roofing.
Oh yeah.
Super lightweight. Yeah.
So I was like, I wanted something back there, but that tile had to go. It was too heavy.
Yeah.
Putting us
all
over
that stuff you got to think about. All that stuff you got to think about. Now, some of the people have said when I talked to them about it that, Pete, you're better off to buy a used fifth wheel because all the bugs have been worked out of it. I'm not about a new used one, like this is 25, it's like a 23, 22, 23, 24, somewhere like, one with, and you know how a lot of RVers are, they buy it with these ambitions and it stays out there under their shed for 3 years and they sell it and it has 6 miles on it.
Yes.
So, but a lot of them, where a lot of the bugs the factory bugs have been worked out and a lot of the maintenance has been taken care of and they sell it with some of their stuff that you don't have to go buy, like pots and pans and dishes and stuff.
Right.
Do you see an advantage of that or buying brand new because of factory warranties?
I see an advantage of that if you can buy it from someone that you trust or you get a good feeling about. I wouldn't buy a used RV from a dealership because you don't know if there's some hits. Don't had some water damage, some electrical problems that it was just way too expensive to get repaired. So they traded it in. And a dealership's not going to fix it all most of the time. So you never really know what you're getting. You could be getting a problem child. So I highly recommend when you do buy an RV, new or used, you pay for an actual RV inspection and have an inspector come out and check all that out to be safe. But there is advantages, like you said, buying used. Most of the time for us, that first year is when we had the majority of our problems that we worked on.
And that's that guy I was telling you about on YouTube, whose name I can't remember. That's what he said. He said there's a lot of advantages to buying used in that those first factory bugs have been worked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people want new because of the bells and whistles. The new stuff may have more digital technology, or it may have a lighter, like the white cabinets versus the dark stuff like that. It depends on what you're looking for.
Interior. Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm curious because again, this is a whole different world to me. We go camping. We do a couple weeks at a time, so it's not like we're out there a while. But when I hear a month, right, in one spot or 6 weeks in one spot, and you're going out because you're choosing to see, say, Yellowstone or whatever national park it is. I mean, is that what drives like where you go? It's typically a site, and then what does your life look like when you're there? Because you're not going out and investigating Yellowstone every day,
No,
right?
No.
And you're
no.
traveling with your house, right? So what is? I'm just curious what your life looks like living out of, what you live out of.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like for instance, right now we're looking at going to Maine. We have not been northeast past New York when we go to visit our son. So this summer, the plan is to get all the way up to Acadia National Park
Okay.
and to stay a month. We want to stay a month up there. And the reason why I like staying longer, especially when we're visiting national parks, is because the weather is unpredictable. You have no idea what the weather's going to be, and if you get up there and you're only staying a week and it rains the whole week, I mean, yeah, you can get out and go explore, but you're going to be miserable.
Yep,
So
been there.
at least this way,
Right.
at least this way we can, if it's raining for 3 days, we're like, okay, well, we just stay here and we take care of business, or just, put a puzzle together. I mean, that's me, not him. But so, just whatever. And then we go and explore, and it gives us more time to, allow for, and it gives us time to relax.
Yeah.
We learned really quick. We don't like the go, go, go. The first year we were on the road, I had every trip planned out. I was like, okay, on this day we're going to do this, and this day we're going to do this. And then we would get there and I'd be like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do that today. So it's just, I learned that we need a little more time, especially for the national parks. If you're visiting, just, you're just going to go visit like a small little town because you heard it had a cool little shopping area or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. But a national park, definitely longer.
Yeah.
The rest
I
of the
see
time,
that.
I'm still cooking and cleaning and getting groceries.
Yeah. It's like to your example where you talked about staying in Cody. Cody's only 50 miles from Yellowstone and 60 miles from the Tetons, and you're only 30 miles from Little Bighorn and 2 hours from Devil's Tower. So there's a
Right.
lot. So you can park there and go see a lot of stuff from
Yes.
one location on just day trips.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We drove into Yellowstone a couple of days, and then at the third day we were like, you know what, let's just we'll stay in one of the, the lodges there at the park. And we stayed the night that time, and then drove home. And but then we did drive down to the Tetons. We stayed 2 weeks in Du Bois.
Du Bois.
Oh, I
Wyoming.
love that town.
Loved it.
that
Really
town.
nice campground.
The campground we stayed at was amazing.
I love that town.
So yes, we did too. We would stay there again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Last time I was there, I stayed at the Three Bears Lodge, just a little motor lodge there. I took the
I
kids.
remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
That's where I love that town. Sidebar, John, that's where the Lee Brook, the guy interviewed a guy attacked by a grizzly bear.
Oh yeah.
He was hunting just north of there. He was staying in
wow.
Bose and was hunting up there when he got attacked. It bit his face off. That's an
Ooh.
episode coming up in a couple of days, and about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh my
Amazing
goodness.
story.
Fun.
Amazing story. So don't go hiking into Bose with pork chops around your belt. Just saying.
Bring your bear spray.
Bring
Oh man.
I was like,
Yeah,
well, they were strapping
we
meat.
went 2 years wanting to see a bear. Had our bear spray. We were ready to go if we encountered one, and never saw one. And then we get to Rocky Mountain National Park, and their flyer, when you first get to the park, they give you the little brochure.
Yeah,
and it says in the brochure, it is very unlikely you will see a bear in Rocky Mountain National Park, which I thought was odd, but that's what they say. And that's where we saw the bear. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Black bear. Was it a black bear?
It was a black bear. And it was, a little baby.
Smaller one.
Little baby, a little cub.
Yeah.
But, but we had
I've
a
seen
good
him
time.
in the Tetons. I've seen him in the Tetons National Park and in Yellowstone, but I've been out there several times. So it's just lucky. I mean, you get a bear jam, the traffic just comes to a stop and everybody gets out. I'm like, you people are food and you don't even realize it.
I
You
know.
don't even realize it's food,
Yeah.
All right.
We were,
What is the most surprising place you went to?
uh,
For me, probably Idaho.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting a lot, but we had a great time in Idaho. So that was
Okay.
really it.
and we weren't even really there to see anything. It was actually, we had just spent, what, 6 weeks in Utah visiting national parks and doing a bunch of stuff. We were really busy while we were in Utah. So, and we were making our way to Glacier, where we knew we were going to be very busy while we were there. So Idaho was literally just we're going to stop here, relax, catch up on work, because he was working full time at that time still. And we ended up loving it. I mean, it was amazing, that area. We were very shocked by Idaho.
So you probably went through Bear Lake area of Idaho if you came up from Utah.
I could not even tell
Pocatello,
you. We stayed
that
in
area.
Arco, Idaho,
Okay.
not far from Crater of the Moon
Yes.
National Monument.
Yes.
So
Beautiful out there. Beautiful
Yes.
out there.
it was gorgeous. So
Mhm. So would you agree with that, Theresa, that was your big surprise was Idaho?
that was my big surprise too. Yes,
Well,
really?
I totally agree. We had a blast in Idaho.
It helped. We rented a 4x4 and went 4x and up in the mountains. That made it,
Okay.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
yeah, we spent a whole day.
little
just-
ATV action.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Almost got
So-
lost, and that's okay.
It was
See,
fun.
there's all kind of stuff like that you can do. You're not relegated to the campground.
Right.
No.
I think a lot of people who think about living in an RV, they think that they are relegated to the RV and the campground, and it's not. It's just it's your home, so that you move to different places to go out and explore.
Right.
Yes, and we love hiking, and we did a ton of that in Glacier, and well, we've done a ton of that in every national park we visited. So, but yeah, no, we enjoy getting out and seeing, and honestly, a lot of campgrounds that are close to the national parks will offer, they'll offer ATV rentals, or they'll offer
Kayaks.
tours, and kayaks and stuff like that. So it's not that, if you get to a campground, you're like, well, I didn't know where to look. Well, you didn't look too hard, because a lot of campgrounds offer that. So anyway, that's
So what's the next big park you want to go to? What's on the list?
Acadia.
Acadia. Yeah.
Okay.
That was actually going to be our first year on the road. We were going to do Acadia, and then just on a whim, we were like, you know what, we should go out west. So we did out west 2 years in a row, and then so this year we're making our way to Maine finally.
Nice.
No, I haven't been to the parks in Utah yet, but of all the national parks I've been to, my biggest surprise was Teddy Roosevelt, North Dakota.
I've
Really?
heard that. We haven't been,
there, yeah.
but I've heard that.
And it's the least visited national park, but it looks very similar to the Badlands of South Dakota. They call it the Badlands of North Dakota, but
Okay.
there's hardly anybody there, number one, which is nice. And it's just very different and very pretty. It's on the really close to the Montana border in North Dakota. But North Dakota, I just love the Dakotas in general. Because we're from the South. I'm from South Carolina. Y'all from Virginia. And that wide open space is just so different.
It is. We miss the West, actually. This last year, not being able to go out West, that was a little hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
if that was your biggest surprise, what's been your biggest disappointment?
Yours and mine.
I'll let you have that one.
Mine is New Mexico. I am not a fan of New Mexico. Sorry for everyone that's from New Mexico. It was too windy and too sandy for me. We went visit White Sands, and I like to keep my RV and my truck clean.
Yeah.
The entire time we're in New Mexico, it just looked like a cake of mud and sand. I'm still finding sand in the truck, and it's been 3 years. It was my least favorite. The sand, the wind, I wasn't a fan.
Well, and he's also not a fan of caves. And of course, Carlsbad Caverns is in New Mexico. And so that, that started it off, because that was the first stop we made in New Mexico. And then from there, it just went downhill after that.
I'm with you on the caves there, Bryan. I don't like to go underground until they bury me.
Right.
I don't like going
I
on there.
love
think
caves, so
She loved it.
Uh,
That was my least by far.
have
I
fun.
don't- my biggest disappointment. I don't know that I really have
Not
one.
just in places that you've been, but
Oh.
of living the RV
Living the
life.
RV life. Probably for me was that first year on the road, especially the first 6 months, I would say, when everything would break. You would get somewhere and something would be broken. And it got to the point where I finally told him, please don't tell me something broke. We just fix it, and I don't want to hear about it, because I was to the point where I was like, okay, you know what? We're selling it and we're going back to a house, because I was so frustrated. Even though I knew things broke, I knew that we had done the research. I just wasn't expecting it that often. And it just seemed like every trip.
That's when you get a good deal on a used RV. After someone's first 6 months to a year, they just get fed up with it and trade it in or sell it.
Yeah. So what kind of things are breaking, Bryan? Typically.
Typically a lot of plumbing issues, driving around, your connections are coming loose, axle related issues. Our rig was brand new and a leaf spring broke and an axle slipped. Come to find out, none of the U-bolts were torqued properly from the manufacturer. So I didn't know any better. It's like when I buy my Ram truck, I get in and drive. I don't get underneath and check the torque of the bolts. With an RV, you have to check that kind of stuff.
Really?
We've had our window treatments fall off the wall just from vibrations. Little things like that. You get electrical issues because the plugs are constantly rattling and wires are coming loose. So I'd say plumbing and electrical are probably the biggest. Water leaks. We spent 6 months tracking down a water leak. Sometimes you can have a water leak in the very back of the rig, but you see water in the front of the rig. And you got to track down.
You mean like a roof leak?
It could be a roof leak. Ours was coming from one of the slides, working its way down through the walls. It took forever to find where that spot was.
Yeah. Now all the plumbing is PEX stuff now, right?
It would be nice if it was. It's a combination of PEX and flexible hose. And typically that's where you have your leaks, where that joint is between the PEX and the flex hose. You're experiencing the leak. I'm slowly but surely, if I have a problem, I replace the flex hose with a piece of PEX. Eventually I'll have all PEX, but right now it's a combination of both. And that's the majority. I'd say 90% of your fifth wheels are going to be like that combination.
I thought the whole reason they used PEX was because it was flexible.
It's not as flexible as a piece of hose that they're going to put a clamp on and bend it the way they want. So you'll look, some of the higher end ones may have all PEX, but the majority of them are going to be a combination.
Okay. So in my toolkit, I need to have PEX supplies, the crimping tool, and then
the crimpers, the rings, the PEX removal tool to get in case you got to repair one.
Yeah.
Do a lot of that. So I have a pretty big, like a big tackle box with nothing but PEX supplies.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like Pete's concerned now. I think I'm going to get a good deal on a fifth wheel in a year.
I think I'm gonna follow Bryan and Theresa around.
I will tell you this though, too.
Fix it.
Being an RV tech, it is much easier to work on a fifth wheel than it is a Class A.
Okay.
You have much more access to all the plumbing, electrical. Class A, there's engines in the way, there's walls, so fifth wheels are much easier to work on.
Yeah, and I've noticed that when I've looked at them, when I'm checking out cargo space and storage access, I'm always looking for how do you access the plumbing on this shower? How do you access the plumbing on this toilet? How do you access the plumbing on the sink? Where's the electrical box? How do the wires come in and all that?
Most people don't look at that, but that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at all that kind of stuff just because I know just enough that I can say, Bryan, I've really screwed it up. Come here and fix it for me because I've just tried to fix it twice and I made it worse.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, we don't have a washer and dryer on board because we just didn't want the extra plumbing issue. We didn't want another place that could leak, and plus we wanted the closet space too. But
plus the weight
and the weight. And the shaking, the vibration
Oh,
that a washer does when you're in the car. No, we didn't need all that. So
yeah. Yeah. All right. When you're backing into tight spots, how long from the time you back it in, how long does it take you to get it set up?
It depends.
Wait,
I'm kind of a perfectionist where I want the rig to be perfectly straight in the campsite. If it's off by 2 inches, I want to pull forward and get it perfect.
Quarter.
She doesn't really care. I care. So that all depends. Sometimes it can take a while, only because I'm so picky about wanting it straight in the sight.
But then once you
Okay,
get
so you get your tape measure out. You're measuring from front to the edge of the concrete on both sides.
I can tell, like, if the concrete has the divider in it, and the landing gear is on one side, the divider in the back, and the other side in the front, I want to fix it.
That's the only time I'm grateful for just a gravel pull through. We don't have to worry about if it's straight or not.
But we're not experts at backing in by any. We've only done it perfect once. We backed in, and the very first time we hit it on the money. We were less than 5 minutes. We were done. Most of the time, there's a little back and forth action going on.
Yeah.
Well, and that's understandable. You got a 44-foot rig you're trying to put into a spot, right?
And knowing what I know now, I prefer pull throughs just because when you back in, you're really flexing the axles. So, especially on a tight back end. So, the less you back in, the better your axles are going to treat you in the long run.
Right, right.
Well, I think some of the best entertainment, though, when I'm camping, is watching.
People backing in.
Not just someone backing in, but watching the couple interact. As we still joke about a guy named Evan because we heard his name screamed about 37 times. But
Oh no! Oh no!
and we camped near them 3 years in a row. So every year we're like, okay, let's pull out the chairs because it's going to be a good show when Evan pulls in with his camper.
We've got our communication down. I don't think we've ever really yelled at each other.
We get frustrated at times.
I get frustrated, but my frustration is more about the fact that he wants to be perfectly straight.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a half-inch off, but just drop the.
Yeah, I'm just like, does it really matter?
Right.
It matters apparently.
It matters. And that's why you have the walkie-talkie, so you're not screaming at each other back and forth, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Use the walkie-talkies and say, all right, come on back. All right, passenger side needs to go to the left. Driver's side needs to come back a little more, and then stop.
Yeah.
He gets out with his tape measure.
Moving an eighth of an inch.
He gets out his tape measure and his bubble level, and say, okay, hold on.
There you go. Yep, that's it.
Yep. And I mean, when I get him backed up to where I think it should be, then I tell him you need to get out and look because
you also want to look when you back up. Where's your sewer line going to be? Where's your power? Do you want to run 2 power cords or 2 sewer lines? Right.
Yeah. All right. There was something else by that I was going to ask. Just left me. John, come up with something. I can't remember now.
Now, do you always go to sites that have all those hookups, electric and sewage and all that?
We don't dry camp. The only time we dry camp is if we're driving from one site to another and we have to do a harvest host overnight for a one-nighter. We never do it for more than one night. We want full hookups.
Of course, I guess if you're there a month to 6 weeks, I mean, that's way different.
Right.
So
Did you ever do the Cracker Barrel or Walmart or any of that kind of stuff?
We have not. Cracker Barrels are very tight.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. Walmart. We pulled into one Walmart one time. We were planning on spending the night, and we got there, and it was sketch. So we packed up, and I got on the phone, found a campground close by that I was like, nope, we're not staying here. So but we do stay at Harvest Host a lot. We really enjoy that. Which, I mean, it's a membership. You got to pay for it for the year, and then you visit that business.
Well, I know what that is, but why don't you explain that to the listeners?
Oh, okay. So Harvest Host is a membership program. You pay a yearly fee, and you can visit wineries, museums,
golf course.
Well, that's additional. Golf course. Our favorite's an equestrian farm.
Churches have a lot of churches.
A lot of churches are joining Harvest Host now, and they just ask for a donation. Now, if it's a business, like there are farms and they have like eggs and milk and stuff like that that they sell, they ask that you spend a little money at their business and then, move on. And you only can stay one night. Some will offer you more nights, but most are just one night. And usually you're dry camping. A lot of harvest hosts now are getting electric hookups, and some will even offer you water to fill your tanks or put water in your tanks. So that's what it is. It's basically just a community of businesses that are supporting the RV industry with overnight stays in unique places besides Walmarts and Cracker Barrels.
Are there a lot of those?
There are a lot. I would say I last time I saw I was on the website, I thought I saw over 4,000 Harvest Host locations.
Oh wow!
And that doesn't include the golf course locations. That's an additional membership fee that we don't pay for because we don't golf.
Right.
So, but and I don't know how many golf courses offer. We just had friends that actually stayed at a drive-in movie theater. That was their Harvest Host.
That's cool.
I thought that was a really cool location. So.
Yeah. Huh.
But if you don't take water with you, as Bryan said, how do you dry camp even one night? You can't even brush your teeth.
If we know we're going to do a harvest host like that, we may put 3 or 4 gallons of water just to do the bare minimum. Bring some baby wipes. Or if we have to take a shower, I think I got it down to 1:30. If I have to take a fast shower.
A Navy shower.
But yeah, the most we would travel would be 5 gallons of water at the most.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have a couple of harvest hosts that we like to frequent that actually offer water when we get there. So we can put 10 gallons in and use it, and then when we get
dump as soon as we can.
Yeah, we'll get on the road and get to a Love's and dump
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Love truck stop have dumps. Many of them have dump stations. You pay a small fee.
And rest areas. A lot of rest areas will have dump stations.
Oh, do they really? I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of the Loves are starting to come up with campgrounds. There's like 10, 15 sites you can camp at too.
Yeah, it's real. They're pretty nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Let me ask you this, because this is a Christian show. When you go to these campgrounds and you stay for an extended period of time, are there opportunities there? Do the campgrounds have Sunday services, or do individual campers offer that, or how does all that work? I'm really curious about that.
We actually have been to a couple of campgrounds, one in Tennessee, in Seaverville, that actually has a Sunday morning service. They have a whole little area that they have their Sunday morning service. And we've been to one out west, and I can't remember the name of that campground, and I honestly cannot remember where that was. But they also offered the same thing. They called it Cowboy Church, their Cowboy Church Sunday service. So I guess it might have been in Wyoming, maybe now that I think about it. But those are only 2 we've been to that have offered that.
Sometimes the RVers, we've been to one where there was an RVer in the campground, would set up chairs around their campsite.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
They had like a little small group, small service.
Yeah. That was.
But you don't see it a lot. It's rare.
It is rare, which is kind of sad. What's that?
There's opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yes. We do have a home church here in Florida that we attend when we're here. And then of course we live stream that church when we're out on the road. And then when we're in Oklahoma, I'm sorry, that's
Virginia.
In Virginia, we go to church with our son,
right,
to his church. So, so we visit, and then we visited other churches over the years.
If we go someplace and there's friends,
we'll
go to church with them while we're in their community visiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
which was my next question. How often do you see the same people when you go to camping, other campers? How often do you run into people that you've camped with a lot?
Other campers.
Not a lot. Occasionally there's Dave, or but it's not often. We don't
really
a handful of times in 3 years.
Down here in Florida, that's different. We've been here 3 years now, and the same group of people come back pretty much every winter. So this is kind of the exception to that rule. But we do stay in a lot of military campgrounds, and I would say that's where we see the most repeat people. we'll run into people, that we've seen on the road in a military campground.
Now, when you started this lifestyle and you told your children, your friends, other family members that what was their response? Like, do people think you were nuts, or were they like, wow, this is amazing?
No.
Friends normally think it's amazing. They wish we could do it, but yeah, most people think you're crazy because they don't realize the type of RV we're in. They think of the old school 22, 24-foot camper, and they think we're going to be living in that.
Yeah. So most people who come in our camper the first time, they're like, okay, wow, this is like a little apartment.
Yeah, I could live here.
Exactly. I could live here. And I'm like, well, yeah, you could. Yeah. So
we do.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say most of our family probably thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
But then now it's kind of like they realize, we're doing what we love and we enjoy it. And I think a lot of people too thought you're crazy for selling your house, and what if you don't like it? What happens if you don't love it? Now you've invested all this money and sold your house. So
you go buy another house, then you come back home. I mean, it's that simple.
Right? Yeah, I mean that's kind of way
a much smaller house now because we realize we don't need 4,000 square feet to live in. We have to live in 400.
No.
Right. Yeah. Right. I'm living in 480 right now, so I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely, a 1,200 square foot home would be like a mansion to us right now.
It would. It would. I got to take more than 4 steps to go to the bathroom. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You can wash dishes while you're on the potty. It's not quite that small. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I know.
I am a little surprised though that you don't see more of the people that you see. I guess I'm thinking of the camping clubs that people are part of, like the holiday ramblers or those where they just kind of follow each other around to different, or say we're going to be in Arches National Park and say, hey, well, I'm going to be there in 3 weeks, and they just kind of meet up and say, I'm just kind of surprised you don't do that.
A lot of the manufacturers, like you're buying, if you get a Montana will have 2 or 3 national rallies a year. And you get to know a lot of Montana owners. Unfortunately, the brand we have is no longer in business. They're not making fifth wheels anymore, so they don't have rallies that we can attend. So that's when you would probably, and like I said, if you got hunting buddies, then you'll probably come across them a little more often.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do see, like I said, it's funny because our brand of RV, the Van Lee brand, anytime we see one in a park, we're like, oh my gosh, there's somebody who owns a Van Lee. So we do try to introduce, because they are pretty rare. There's not a lot of them on the road. So we do try to make friends with those people, and that way we'll recognize them next time we see them. So
all right, and here's one last question. Are campgrounds safe? A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to be camping around these strangers. And my experience is, and John, you can speak to this because you've done it more recent than I have, is everybody's super nice and go out of their way to help you and very friendly. But has that been y'all's experience?
I say in 3 years, there's only been one campground that we felt might have been a little sketchy, and we had a week reserved there, and we stayed one night and just moved on. If the hairs on your neck start to stand up, get out. Yeah, but we've only had one campground where we were the neighborhood around the campground wasn't the best, so we left and we got our money back for the rest of that week.
Yeah, I have not. Oh, sorry.
I say in general, are the people nice?
90, most of the time. Yeah, it's rare you come across any. We haven't really had a lot of issues at all.
No, we haven't had any issues. I know a lot of people say that. They say, well, you haven't camped out in California or something like that. And I'm like, well, no, we haven't, but we know people who have and don't have issues. So I think it's just a matter of, you have to do your homework when you're booking these campgrounds. If a campground has a review where it talks about things that might be a little scary, find another one.
Right.
So there's plenty of safe campgrounds out there. And it is true, the RV community is very helpful. I mean, we're all very like-minded. We're all out here trying to, live our lives and have, adventure and, live in a minimal lifestyle. So, it's easy to help each other and be there for each other.
So if you have a plumbing problem and Brian's not around, you can go to somebody else and say, "Hey, can you mind helping me troubleshoot this real quick?" And they'll come over
Absolutely.
and help.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the RV community. Most people are very helpful, and you know, you just got to be willing to get out there and meet your neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have that face that everybody stops and talks to me. I can't go to the grocery store without having 15 conversations with strangers. It's just, they just walk up and start talking. I was like, I'm just trying to get a bell pepper, dude. That's all I want.
I need to get home.
I don't really want to get into this right now.
Yeah, that's actually Bryan. He, even before he was an RV tech, he would always.
But now when you're an RV tech and they see it, they're gonna stop and try to get, oh, how would you do this? How would you do that type thing?
Yeah, they want to
It's
pick
just
his
like
brain.
when you see the doctor in Sunday school. My elbow's been hurting for 3 days here. What do you
Exactly.
think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Make an
Ron, you got
appointment.
I don't think so. I just find this whole concept so intriguing because I love, my wife and I love the outdoors. We love to travel. We love to camp, and we keep stretching our camping longer and longer.
Nice.
So it was, first it was a week, then it was 10 days. Now it's 2 weeks. This year we actually booked a site for a month.
Nice.
I'm not able to get away that long, but I told her, I said, well, why don't you, if you want to come home for a few days, we can leave the camper there for a day. Come home, do some laundry at home or stuff you want to do around the house. I said, go back for a week and enjoy yourself. I said, I'll come back, a few days on the weekend. And so like, it just seems like it keeps growing and growing and growing because there's just something about unplugging. And I think that minimalist lifestyle that you keep mentioning, every time we come home from camping, we're like, we don't need all this stuff. Like,
right.
And it's just it's so freeing to just, I'm sitting at the fire every night, with my kids and and I know we're running out of that. So that's why we're talking about it more and more. I mean, two kids have graduated or away at college, another one soon. And we're talking a lot about traveling and stuff now. And I just love to hear, people that actually do it. Cause it's, I said it to my wife last night, half joking, but like part of my brain's going,
planting a seed.
That's right.
Just drag her to a couple of RV shows, Hershey, Tampa, you'll get her sold.
Yeah, we went to several large dealers last year and we're going through, and I can believe some of those trailers are just.
John, there's one coming up next week in Syracuse, the largest in the East Coast.
I know that's only a couple hours away.
I know. I'm telling you.
Where are you guys at now?
I'm in Western New York, so about 30 miles east of Niagara Falls.
Oh, our son lives in Lewiston.
Oh, no kidding!
Right outside of Niagara Falls, and his wife.
Half hour away from here.
We'll be there in June and July. We'll be there.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I live in South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, you remember you said that.
Yeah, our house is about 2.5 miles off Lake Ontario.
Okay.
Nice.
So,
we stay at the Daisy Barn campground in Wilson, right there on Lake Ontario.
No kidding. Yeah, Wilson. Yeah, we live in Barker, so Wilson's actually 2 towns away.
Okay.
We should meet up in June and
Yeah.
July.
Oh, definitely.
We'll help plant the seed.
We'll help talk your wife into that full-time life.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, you can give her a tour of your house there.
Yeah.
You take Jen over for a lunch or something, and take lunch with you,
Yeah.
so they don't have to fix for you, and let them show you the whole lifestyle. That'd be awesome.
You're right down the road from is it Tuscarora? There's a park.
Yes.
Right on the
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
It's right down the road.
Yeah, my kids have had cross country meets there, and my
Okay.
son has gone and played frisbee golf, and that's funny. You're gonna be right
That's
there. Okay.
Small world.
Yeah, we're normally there every June and July is our normal time to be in Western New York.
Okay. Well, I just started following you on Instagram today, so from my page, I'll shoot you a message. Would love to connect. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been awesome, guys. I know we've been going a little over an hour now, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But Bryan and Theresa of Our Villa Adventures on Instagram, and tell the listeners how else they can follow you besides Instagram, or is there or is there anywhere else?
We have a channel, the same channel on TikTok and on Facebook as well.
Okay,
So
but not on YouTube. You're not on YouTube yet because I can't find you.
No, that's not our cup of tea.
Right, that's fine. That's fine. And so I'll put links to that in the show notes so that people can find you and follow. But
we also have a business website that we keep a calendar normally 6 months out on where we're going to be. So we can send that link, and if someone needs an RV tech, they can see if we're going to be in that area.
Okay, good. So you don't just work in the campground you're in, you work the whole area that you're in, I guess.
When I'm in Western New York, I had jobs taking me 100 miles away. So wherever I need to go.
Yeah.
It's good to know that there are mobile RV techs out there in case you run into an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's very few up there in Western New York, though.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Well, that's $600 an hour. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to hire something like that too. You're welcome, Bryan. You're welcome.
You're not helping.
Oh, okay. It's not quite that expensive.
Only for you.
Only for me. Only for the Mason-Dixon guys. That's it. I get it. Okay. All right. Bryan, Theresa Villa of our Villa Adventures. Thank you for joining us here on Christian Outdoors.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Take care.